Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Case Files Behind Closed Doors. If you've missed the previous 3 episodes, go and check them out. They're in a playlist on the channel. You'll need to probably go through those to get any idea of what we're actually doing here in episode 4. If you were here for episode 3, you'll know that we began our second round of interviews. We started again with Emma. We gave her a second interview. She didn't really give us that much information in that, other than the fact that she went to get breakfast on the day of the murder, didn't leave her motel room for the entire day until Charles arrived at 6 o'clock with some dinner. We have got a lot of holes in Charles's story, which is what we're going to be getting on with straight away today. If you saw the last episode as well, you'll know that I had to cut a little bit out towards the beginning of that episode when I was looking at the crime scene photos over here. So the far to left images are too graphic, possibly, for YouTube. So I had those up and I was zooming right in on them, and it wasn't happy with it. I was also discussing how Daniel could have maybe done it himself, but I was using the terminology, and it also wasn't happy with that. So I have to back off on the S word, and I'll also have to possibly back off on showing you those. But I'm not entirely sure whether it was purely just images or purely just that, because I was speaking about it at the same time. It could be either or. So if we do need to look at those photos, I will show them again, but I'll blur them over. I did try and do that, but it was still not liking it because of the language I was using, let's say. Too graphic for YouTube, which is fair enough. They've got a wide audience to try and protect, so I removed that. But there's really, and you can see them from this angle, and it's absolutely fine with it, so we can look at them from this angle anyway. But there really isn't anything to show in those photos as of yet. I didn't really see any particular inconsistencies other than the blood on the fingers there. Clearly there's no blood on the gun. Not been holding that weapon. It's been placed there, let's say. So other than that, there was really nothing going on in those photos as of yet. And we showed you those ones anyway. So without further ado, let's get on with some interviews, shall we? So we need to interview Charles for a second time. And I think this one is going to be a very interesting interview because we know he's not telling the entire truth.
All right, this is another continuation with Charles Humphreys. So Charles, I want to revisit your relationship with Daniel.
I mean, sure, but like I told you before, there wasn't much of a relationship. I only met the guy a few times.
So when was the last time that you saw him?
Probably a few months ago, maybe? Honestly, I'm not sure.
So you didn't see him on September 11th?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah, I saw him that morning. That's right. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
See, Charles, I don't know how you could forget that.
What do you mean?
Well, Charles, we have security cam video that shows you violently threatening him. In fact, Charles, we can take a look at that right now.
You don't need to show me that.
Well, Charles, I just want to refresh your memory, okay? Seeing as though that you forgot. So please, indulge me, okay? Take a look.
Yeah, asshole. I know what you did there, Mom.
Look, I don't know what she told you, but I didn't lay a finger on her.
Oh, shut up and cut this shit. I know you did. If you ever do that again, I will kill you. I will fucking kill you. No, whatever.
So, Charles, is it coming back to you now?
Yeah.
Charles, you are seen here threatening Daniel's life, all right? Now, that is pretty damn serious, especially considering the fact that the man whose life that you threatened, well, he was found killed the very next day.
I know how it looks, but I swear that was just an empty threat. I didn't mean it literally. But I was pissed, man. He laid hands on Emma, and I wanted him to know that I wasn't going to put up with that shit, period.
So you had no intentions of actually following through with that threat?
No, I wasn't actually going to kill him. But yeah, if he hurt Emma again, I would have probably went there and kicked his ass. But no, I wasn't actually going to kill him.
Okay, fair enough. So let's talk about your other visit to Daniel's house, okay? The next day, the day that he was actually killed.
Yeah, sure. What more do you want to know?
Well, you went there to gather some of Emma's personal belongings based on her request, right?
Yes, that's right.
And I'm assuming that you were able to get everything that you were sent there to get. Is that also correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So when did you actually bring these items to Emma?
Later that night.
At the motel.
Yes, at the motel.
And you had also brought her dinner as well that evening, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So Charles, when you were actually inside of Daniel's house gathering these items, how long would you say that you were in there for?
It's pretty quick, maybe a minute at the most.
A minute at most? Really?
Well, I just went into the house and grabbed a bag that was right at the entryway and then left.
So you had no reason to look around the house at all?
No, not at all.
All right, Charles, well, let me process this, okay, for a little bit. So we'll take a short break and I will be right back, okay?
Okay.
Well, more lies. Just never stops lying, does he? I'm assuming Martin's going to call. Here we go.
All right, there are definitely some holes in this guy's story. I'm going to need you to find some concrete proof. Let's nail this guy hard, all right?
Indeed.
Let me know what you can find.
Let's nail him hard. He's got just, well, most of his story doesn't even make sense. So let's go through this, shall we? So he claims he forgot saying Daniel. Obviously, when we showed him the footage there, he remembered the fact that he'd been there, but says it was an empty threat. Now that could all be true. It doesn't look good, does it? But you could understand why he would be making those threats, so that's fine. But he was lying about it to begin with, so he's got a history of lying here. He was in the house for a minute. He wasn't. He was in the house for about 3 or 4 minutes. He did confirm that he'd seen Emma for dinner, but he did say he took her the bag round, and she said otherwise. So we need to nail him with some evidence. So find 2 pieces of contradictory evidence from the most recent interview. So he said he was only in there for a short while. Well, that proves otherwise, I would say. And statements made by Emma would also be contradictory, I would say. So we're finding 2 pieces. So the first piece of contradictory evidence we need to find, I would say he said he was in the house for a minute. And that's not true. And the second piece of contradictory evidence, I would say, is the fact that he didn't take her the bag round in the first place, because we've already nailed him on the fact that he'd gone round to threaten Daniel. I don't think any of these things, text messages and stuff, particularly matter. Crime scene photos, I don't think matter either, so it's got to be that one. And indeed it is.
Hey.
Hey, Martin.
There it is. There it is. Fantastic work.
Thank you.
Good eye. Yes, he is clearly in the house for way longer than just a minute. And yeah, you're right. Emma stated that he only brought her food the night of Daniel's death. She made it pretty clear that he didn't bring her anything else. So why would he go through the trouble of getting her personal items and then not actually give them to her? That makes no sense at all. All right, let's get the show back up and running. We need answers. Talk soon.
Go on, nail him, Martin. Ooh, we've got him on the ropes now. I wonder what he's going to say, though. What is he going to say now, I wonder? How is he going to get himself out of this one? Let's find out.
All right, this is a continuation with Charles Humphreys. Now, Charles, I want you to take a look at this footage right here, okay?
What am I looking for exactly?
Well, you can clearly see that that's you at the front of Daniel's house, correct?
Yes, I can see that.
So can you look up there and tell me, what is the date?
It's September 12th,
Right, and the time? What does that say?
9:27 a.m.
So 9:27 a.m. All right. Now let's fast forward through this. We'll jump to about right about note here. All right, now, can we agree that this is you leaving Daniel's house that same morning?
Yes, it is.
So again, can you look up there and tell me the time? What does it say now?
It's 9:31 a.m.
So 9:31 a.m. Now see, Charles, you told me that you were in Daniel's house for no more than 1 minute. Okay, now I'm showing you the security cam video that shows that you were in there for about 3 to 4 minutes. Now, Charles, I can't understand why it would take 3 to 4 minutes to simply go inside of the house, grab a bag that's right there in the entryway, and then leave. So, Charles, can we cut the bullshit? All right, why did you go inside this house? And more importantly, what were you doing in this house? And this time, Charles, please, do not lie to me.
Look, I don't know if you're aware, but Daniel threatened Emma at gunpoint the day before he died. Now, obviously, this guy was unstable, but I didn't know he had a gun in the house.
So how did you find out about the gun?
Emma told me, and I was afraid Daniel was going to flip out again and actually use the gun to hurt Emma. So I decided to go over to the house and see if he was there. But when I got there, his car wasn't in the driveway. So I thought I could go in the house and find the gun and take it from him.
All right, so just to be clear, the reason that you went to the house was to find this gun.
That's right. And when I went in the house, I immediately went into their bedroom thinking that's where it would be. But instead, I find the guy lying there dead, and the gun is in his hand too. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I remember they had the security cam out front. So that freaked me out, right? And I knew it was going to look bad, me coming in the house and this guy being dead. So I quickly kind of came up with this plan to grab some of Emma's stuff and put it in this bag. So it seemed like I had a reason to be there.
So this whole thing was just a performance for the security cam?
Yeah, I guess that's one way to put it.
Well, I guess that does make sense. Because see, Emma, she stated that the only thing that you brought her that evening was dinner.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's stupid and I'm sorry. But I didn't want to have any connection to this guy's death. I mean, the whole situation makes it look like I did it. Hell, I don't even know if you believe what I'm saying. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
All right, so if your intent was to go there and to find this gun, then why do you look so confused when you first arrived?
Honestly, that's what I'm still confused about. Because I went to reach for the spare key, it wasn't there. So I thought I'd try the door anyway, and to my surprise, it was already unlocked.
So who do you think could have taken that spare key?
Honestly, I have no clue. I mean, I know it wasn't me, and it definitely wasn't Rebecca, because she has her own keys to the house, so I don't know. And I don't know why they would have left the door unlocked. That doesn't make any sense either. But what I do know is that it's obvious that somebody was there before me. They took the spare key, and they went through the front door.
All right. Well, Charles, we're going to give you a break, all right? You can step out of here for now, okay?
Okay.
Well, we already know Janice went in there half an hour beforehand. And she was the one that unlocked the door and didn't lock it again. Anyway.
Hey, I think that went well. It's quite a story, though. I'm still not sure who to believe at this point in time. That being said, he did hit the nail on the head. Someone was absolutely there before him, and we know exactly who that was. Now we got both Janice and Charles saying they arrived at the house that morning, and both claim they found Daniel already dead. Yeah, I am not too sure I buy that. Now, I can see Charles's possible motivation for killing Daniel, but Janice's is a little unclear. I mean, maybe she was triggered by seeing another woman she knew dealing with a similar type of abuse that she experienced? I don't know. Well, regardless, we gotta move forward. I want to hear more from Janice. I'll grab her now. We'll be back up in just a sec.
Good idea. This is getting very interesting now. So, I mean, him saying that he found Daniel dead already, found the gun in his hand. I mean, that is how he was found. We know that from the crime scene photo. But why wouldn't you, when you go inside... So the whole thing was for the security camera footage. He thought instantly, oh, I've been caught on CCTV. Let me act out a scene here. Why didn't he just run outside in a panic and call for an ambulance? And then that would have made it look like he wasn't involved anyway. He just found a dead body. His reason for being there could have been, I was just picking some stuff up for Emma. Anyway, that could have been his reason for entering the house. But he didn't need to do a performance. He should have just rung for help. And then that would have kind of cleared him anyway. Particularly because he wasn't seen arriving on the CCTV earlier than that. So he would have been cleared anyway. Although I still think somebody came through the back. Whether it was one of them, I don't know. But let's have a talk to Janice, because somebody has got some serious explaining to do, because like Martin said there, one of these two sounds more involved with this than they're letting on. Still could be the daughter. You know, it still could be her, because we don't really know anything about Rebecca. Because she shut down on us last time. And it still could be Emma. Although, I don't know. We'll see. Let's have a talk to Janice.
Okay, this is a continuation with Janice Burks. So look, Janice, I just want to explore your relationship with Emma a bit more with you, if that's okay.
Sure. What more would you like to know?
Well, you mentioned having a positive relationship with her. So yeah, I just want to, get a better understanding of what that relationship looks like.
Well, like I told you before, Emma's always treated me nicely. And we talk from time to time so we get to know each other a little bit. She looks out for me, I look out for her. She's never judged me whatsoever, and I think that speaks a lot to her character. She's a very good person, and I'm really glad I got to know her.
Now, would you say that she trusts you?
To a certain extent, yes, I would say that.
Now, were you aware of the physical abuse that she had experienced? Did she trust you enough to share that information?
No. I knew they had some arguments. Sounded pretty bad, too. It was loud enough you could hear it next door. But I wasn't aware of any actual physical abuse.
So you were aware that they had some pretty bad arguments?
Yes, I was aware of that.
But you were not aware of any actual physical abuse?
No, sir.
Now, you met Daniel a few times, so I'm wondering, do you think that he seems like the kind of guy that would be capable of physically striking a woman?
Like you just said, I only met him a few times, so I don't think I would be the best judge of his character.
Well, just in the limited interactions that you had with him, does he seem like the kind of guy that would be capable of physically striking a woman?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
All right, well, Janice, we are going to take a real short break. It'd be great if you can use this time to maybe think about your encounters with Daniel and see if you can maybe come up with a more concrete answer, because I would appreciate that.
Sure. But I don't know what else there is to think about.
Well, just try. That's all I'm asking.
Sure.
Well, thank you, Janice.
She is really unusual, isn't she? There's something very off about her. The kind of person that could easily have done this.
Well, she does seem to have all the right answers, doesn't she?
She does.
But there's gotta be some flaws. It just all seems a bit too perfect. There's gotta be more to this than what she's telling us. All right, let's take some time here. Look through everything you got, see if there's any contradictory evidence we can use to prove this statement of hers is full of shit. Hopefully you can find something good. Give me a call when you got something, all right? Bye.
Okay, so we're looking for contradictory evidence. 2 pieces of contradictory evidence. Okay, so some of this could be in the text message chains as well then. Because apparently she doesn't really know There's Janice. She doesn't know Daniel, really. And she said that she doesn't know or didn't know about the physical abuse, but she hears them arguing. So let's have a look to see. So on the 9th, I heard some pretty bad arguing and banging sounds coming from the house. Is everything okay? Yeah, we had an argument. He threw me to the ground. Want me to come to the hospital. So she knew about the abuse when the abuse had taken place that we all know about. But unfortunately, the text messages don't go back far enough. Okay, so that doesn't really tell me that much then, does it? I don't think there's any contradictory evidence there. It's Charles. I don't think we need to look at that. Where's Daniel? Just in case there's anything on here. Not particularly. Certainly doesn't mention like the neighbor or anything. There's got to be something from an interview then, isn't it? Okay, so I don't think there's really contradictory evidence in the text messages. These are the suspects. That's just the incident report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the video again.
Okay, this
Skip
is
our way
a
through it.
continuation with Janice.
I told you before, Emma's always treated me
nicely, yeah. Emma's always treated you nicely.
She's never judged me whatsoever, and I think that speaks a lot to her character. She's a very good person, and I'm really glad I got to know her.
Now, were you aware of the physical abuse that she had experienced? Did she trust you enough to share that information?
No. I knew they had some arguments. Sounded pretty bad, too. It was loud enough you could hear it next door.
As far as we know, that is correct, because she's only mentioned that in a text message. We've got no other knowledge of her knowing that from an earlier time.
Yes, I was aware of that.
But you were not aware of any actual physical abuse?
No, sir.
Now,
Now, does that count, then, that she knew about the physical abuse 2 days before? Because we know that's true.
Yes, I was aware of that. I wasn't aware of any actual physical abuse.
So you were aware that they had some pretty bad arguments?
Yes, I was aware of that.
But you did know about the physical abuse, so I think the text message chain that tells of the physical abuse is probably one of the evidences.
But you were not aware of any actual physical abuse?
No, sir.
That's wrong, because you knew 2 days before he died.
Now,
or 3 days before he
you
died.
met Daniel a few
So
times.
that's one piece of contradictory evidence.
Do you think that he seems like the kind of guy that would be capable of physically striking a woman?
Like you just said, I only met him a few times, so I don't think I would be the best judge of his character.
Well, just in the limited interactions that you had with him, does he seem like the kind of guy that would be capable of physically striking a woman?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
All right, well, Janice, we are going to take a real...
So what's the second piece of evidence, then? So I think the first piece has to be this. Oh, and this, maybe. Let's watch that video. Hang on a second.
Emma? I've been really worried about you. Are you leaving him? Are you all right?
We can talk later. I gotta go.
you sure to something now? Just have
Look, I said we could talk later. I gotta go.
Okay, I got you. You go ahead, I'll get the suitcase.
Okay.
So do you think that would be the other evidence? Because that would speak about Daniel's character, perhaps? I'm actually really struggling with the second piece of evidence, so I think it is definitely that. I'm going to go with this. It's not. Okay. That's annoying. So I think it is that, though. Did she make a statement previously that contradicted that? It's possible she made an earlier statement. Let's have a look at her first interview.
Well, thank you, Janice. And that was for murder, correct?
Yes, sir.
You mind telling me what happened?
Well, it's not a very complicated story.
That's just her past, though.
And how is life treating you these days?
I can't complain, sir. I'm alive. I'm healthy. I got a steady job. Just trying to live life right. God's been good to me.
That's good. That's real good. So what is it that you do for work?
And when she died about 10 months ago, she left it to me.
Well, thank you for
In fact, Rebecca, their daughter, lives with them.
I am curious, how well did you know Daniel and Emma?
Oh, I know Emma pretty well. Daniel, not so much.
She's telling the truth there.
When I moved
think.
in about a year and a half ago, Daniel had already been living there. They're pretty good neighbors. They're quiet.
Ah,
They stick to themselves.
They're
No
quiet.
parties or anything like that. I can't remember them ever having anyone over, in fact. Rebecca, their daughter, lives with
they're
them.
quiet, but she knows about
She's
all
pretty-
of their loud arguments. I wonder if that is our next piece of evidence then. So maybe this and that. No. Still no. So what piece of contradictory evidence are we looking for? Unless it's not the text message chain. I assumed it'd be that because it tells us about the abuse. Okay, so I've been scouring through some of the video clips, rewatching some of the interviews, and I've come to the conclusion it's got to be something I would say to do with Emma, but she only seems to mention Janice twice, and I still can't really see contradictory evidence in there. But this is the two. So
Your
there's
dad, that's Charles, right?
Yes, Charles.
this is
So
the
was
first
Charles
time.
aware of the assault?
We look out for each other.
This is the first time
Person
she's
was my
mentioned.
neighbor, Janice. She must have heard the screaming because she texted to see if everything was okay.
Which is what she did.
I wrote her back that same night and told her exactly what happened.
Which is what she did. So that's true. I don't think that's a contradictory thing, personally.
Now, are you and your neighbor really close? Because, and this could just be a me thing, but that seems kind of a strange thing to tell a neighbor.
Sure, somewhat, I guess. I mean, we look out for each other, as neighbors are supposed to.
And they look out for each other as neighbors are supposed to. So maybe Emma doesn't feel that she's as close to her, maybe? But I mean, it's still similar language used, like they're looking out for each other and sort of thing. It's what they both said.
Now,
And then the other time she mentions her is in this interview, I believe.
I got the food to go.
Which towards...
did Charles to some of the folks there that someone who 6 p.m. that. Is that correct?
That's right.
Well, because Emma, he's so sure of that.
Well, in Janice's case, she had no reason to do such a thing. She hardly even knew Daniel.
Right. But she knows you. And she knows what you've been through. I am sure that Janice can.
See, that's the only contradiction there, is she doesn't immediately shut that down. When he says she knows what you've been through, Emma's basically going along with that.
Empathize
It's
with
not
you.
like,
You don't
no,
think
no,
so?
she doesn't know anything.
Janice is on probation. She's been through a really difficult
So
and unfortunate.
maybe it's something in there then. Maybe the contradictory evidence is that she does know something, and that kind of proves it. So I don't know, but they're the only times she's mentioned anywhere, really. So I think we're going to have to go with the text chain, because I do believe it's that. And then statements made by Emma. Seems to like it.
Hey. Well, there you go. That is great. Perfect. I'll share what Emma said earlier in her previous statement. Good catch. Now, what she said definitely doesn't match up with Janice's presentation of the facts. I'll grab the text message records as well. There's no way Janice can argue with that. All right, let me grab what I need and get back in there. Thanks.
I'm very interested to see which way he goes with this, because, I mean, it was mildly contradictory. It wasn't like, well, I mean, sometimes I guess that is the way. It wasn't black and white, was it? It wasn't, well, they said this, but you said this, and it's completely different. I just think it was more that she didn't say, well, she doesn't know a lot about, she just sort of moved on from it. So maybe it's that, but that's the only time I could find her mentioned. So at least we found that evidence now. Let's see what Janice has to say.
All right, this is another continuation with Janice Burks. So, Janice, I want to make sure that I got this right. Now, you are not aware of any physical abuse that Emma has experienced. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Now, see, that is a problem. Because, see, Emma has stated the complete opposite.
What did Emma say?
Well, in her earlier statement, Emma said that you had texted her the night that her and Daniel had that pretty bad argument, the night that he had reportedly assaulted her. She said that you had texted her.
So it's the text
asking
message
her if
both
everything
times.
was okay.
That's
Now,
what
does
I was
that
getting wrong.
Ring any bells?
Well, yeah, that's correct, sir.
Now, she said that she had texted you back later that night, telling you exactly what had happened. Does that also sound familiar to you?
Well, yes, that's also correct, but I don't remember if she told me that he'd actually physically assaulted her.
So you don't remember her texting you that detail?
No, not that I recall.
That's interesting. That is
Show her
very,
the text.
very interesting. So, Janice, look, I want you to
That's
take
it.
a look
Take
at
a
these
look.
records right here. I want you to look at the message that's highlighted there. Now, that is a text message that Emma had sent to you the evening of September 9th. Now, she clearly texted, and I quote, "He threw me to the ground, hurt me pretty bad, at the hospital now." Now, there is no mixed messaging there. I find it very hard to believe that someone would forget such a major detail. Now, Janice, did you lie to me again?
No, sir. I just didn't recall.
You didn't recall.
Okay, I may have misstated the facts.
Janice, that is a very eloquent way of telling me that you lied. Now, Janice, why did you lie to me again?
Why did I lie? Again, sir, look at the optics. Someone with my background is seen entering the house the same day that Daniel's body is found shot to death. You know why I lied. And don't take this personally, but I don't trust law enforcement. I know I'm an easy target. I'm just doing the best I can to stay out of prison, sir. Look, you want to know what the truth is?
Yes, Janice, that is literally the only thing I want to know.
Good. Because the truth is that none of us would be in this mess if law enforcement had actually done their job and protected Emma when she first reported the abuse. She did all she could. She went to the police. She told them everything that Daniel had done to her. She even had her daughter as a witness. That man should already be locked up. That man physically assaulted her, and you guys let him go on his merry way. That's not okay. You know it, and I know it, that that's not okay.
Look, Janice, I hear you. Okay, I hear you. And yeah, maybe we could have handled things differently. I don't know. Okay, but regardless, we can't live in the past, right? I mean, all that we can do is to make sure that we do the right thing right now in this moment. That's literally all that we can do. So Janice, let me ask you again, okay? Were you aware that Daniel had physically assaulted Emma?
Yes, sir, I was aware.
And your only confirmation of this were the text messages between you and Emma, is that correct?
That and the fact that she went to the hospital with a dislocated elbow. Not sure I'd need any more proof than that.
But you didn't actually see Daniel physically assault her, correct?
No. What kind of question is that? I mean, what man do you know is going to strike a woman in front of other people? Guys like that do their business behind closed doors. Trust me, I know.
Fair enough. Now, I am curious, and Janice, please be honest. Do you think that Daniel deserved to be killed for his actions?
No. Punished, yes, but not killed. Are we almost done, officer?
For now. Yes, for now. Now, I do need to get some other people in here, and then we'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, Janice, you can step out of here for now, okay? Let's go.
Okay, so it was the text chain and the speak about the text that I was looking for. I thought I was just looking for something completely different after we'd already got the text messages.
All right, so we know for sure that Janice was aware of the physical abuse. We know she was the first person seen on camera entering the house, and we know that she and Emma have a relationship in which both of them look out for one another. Now, what we don't know for sure is if Daniel was indeed already dead by the time she entered the house. And at this moment, there really is no way to prove or disprove Daniel's status at that time. It's clear that these people are still lying to us. There's still too many holes and things that just make no sense. All right, let's get Rebecca back in here for another round. I got a few more questions for her. Hang tight.
Yeah, completely agree. It does seem like we're getting lied to by almost everybody on a pretty regular basis, doesn't it? Not many people have been forthcoming with full truth at any time, particularly. But so we got to roughly the bottom of why Charles was lying, although there's still holes in his story. Janice, I mean, she's a very off character. Somebody with that kind of edge to them could have easily done this. She looks like she could kind of do this, but sort of block it out as well, you know, and pretend that it never happened. She's kind of one of those kind of people. But she did explain herself towards the end there, largely. So we've still got a lot of things we need to find out. But at least we managed to get her with some contradictory evidence. Now, Rebecca, who is in our next interview, who we'll probably interview in the next episode, we got shut down pretty badly last time because I chose the wrong option and she kind of just shut up on us. She didn't answer any further questions. So we know almost nothing about her. So we'll hopefully find out more about her in the next one, because at the moment, she's kind of the only one we have no kind of knowledge of what she was doing. She just said she was at her dad's house studying for a paper, and that is as much as we know about her. And I still strongly suspect somebody came through the back door and did this murder in the first place. So hopefully in the next episode we'll find out. If you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave it a like. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you for another video very soon.